everybody. Welcome to a family farmhouse that's only base game and cottage living. And it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And it turned out, like, when I look at this build in, like, when I was doing the videos, I was like, this feels like it's more than just cottage living. And to the point where I thought I cheated, but I didn't cheat. Have you seen my other like videos? I guess only like one. I only talked about it in my base game video that my plan is to do a pack limited build for each pack and make a video for it, and then I'll like rank them based on how useful it is for my building style, and I'll have like story highlights and stuff and like talk about what areas of the pack I wish that there was like more in. So like base game, it was mostly I had a problem with picking windows and columns, but cottage living added on top of base game fixes those things for me. And I do love building like cottagey witchy builds, so cottage living is perfect for like anything I really want to make. I would pick it in any limited mixture of packs. Like, I'm going to be hosting a shell challenge where you pick, like, 3 packs, and I'm 100% picking cottage living for one of them. And, like, you could get away with just cottage living and no other packs. That's how good it is. I don't think I had any real struggles with it. I might, like, maybe as I'm watching, I'll come up with something that I struggled with, but I can't really remember. Oh wait, yeah, I'm looking at the foundations. We didn't get any new like foundations for this, so that was like, I didn't like most of the foundations in base game. I think I really only like that lattice one, but I mostly use the one from Outdoor Retreat that has stones, and we don't really have anything like that in almost any of the packs. So I think I just specifically use that one all the time, and so it's hard when I don't have that pack to use. But the shape of this build, I ended up really liking. And I like the only reason it ended up looking like this nice was because I didn't overthink it. I kind of just started like placing boxes around and pretending like I was building for a shell challenge and not even worrying about anything else. I'm like, okay, so what would make a good shell challenge? And I'm like, a box here, like, perfect. And then when I started roofing it, I just like dragged out some pieces for like how I like my builds to look. So if like one wall is flat, I just like pull out the top of the build and it looks like cute. So that's how you fix it. If you ever want to know how to fix a flat side of your build, you can always just drag out one little square. I prefer to do it on the top, but the bottom's just as fine too, and then you just add a roof. I hear my dog scratching at my door, but I can't let him in. My favorite floor in like any of the packs is this cottage living one, so I definitely use it probably in every single room. So yeah, I ended up using that debug fence for this porch because the like actual fence doesn't match that colorway, and I was disappointed by it because I was like, oh, I really like this one, but now I have to like individually put it, which ended up being okay because then I get to like make it seem like half the fence is broken, and I decided to do it in the front. I was gonna do it on the side, but I was like, no, I feel like that's the most interesting part of this porch, so I have to have the broken pieces like in the front for the pictures. Remembering to put little details in, I always forget to add little things. I cover some of it with ivy, but I, like, when I edited this, I moved some of the footage around, so I didn't actually put the ivy on until, like, last, but I ended up squeezing it before the interior, just in case, like, I don't know, maybe people like, exteriors more than interiors, so they kind of want to see all the exterior done at one time instead of having to like miss some of it if they don't want to watch the interior part. I don't know. I'm not sure what people like enjoy watching, but my favorite thing to do with these paths is to like take the darker dirt and then layer it with, I don't even know what it is, sand maybe, but I really like how that looks. I struggle a little bit with like getting it right. Sometimes I have to take the eraser and like smooth out some of it and like make sure the opacity of the sand is low enough so it doesn't look like a mess. But when I add more flowers and more like landscaping around it, it feels way more natural. So I use a bunch of these pink flowers. I love these pink flowers. I thought they were cottage living for a second. I was gonna be like, yeah, cottage living. No, those are just base game. This grass is cottage living though. Perfect grass. Even just landscaping with like these two packs. Could you consider base game a pack? I'll just say it is, yeah. So landscaping is great. I had no issues when I did my base game only build. Landscaping was like, I think, my favorite part of doing the entire build. So adding just like some of the stuff from cottage living made it so much like nicer and more like easy to incorporate my style, because I love using a lot of the like mushroom items that they gave, like with the logs and stuff. So it adds exactly what most of my builds have. So which is why I feel like even though this is a limited pack build, while I was editing it, I was like, this feels like I cheated. Did I cheat? And did I cheat? No, I don't think so. I'm sure that there's not any other packs in here. I can't remember if I like saved it to my library to make sure, but odds are that there isn't. I was very careful with it. I always make sure I have the filters on. You can't eyedrop like certain items or resets all your filters. So I try and limit how often I eyedrop things just so that I don't have to keep like changing the filter again. But I do the same thing with these rocks pretty often in my builds. I guess that exact rock is just base game. Maybe I sometimes use ones from cats and dogs, and I normally just cover up some of the like higher terrain where you can't paint over it, just because like sometimes it's too much. So I always just use tool to layer the rocks, and to give it a more natural feel, I sometimes will just like highlight a few in certain areas and lower them, and then keep the other ones. Yeah, I feel like it worked out pretty well. I like how it came out. Oh, and I finally remembered to do this like fake stair thing again. I did it in my first video, and I felt like I like changed my life with it, and I was like, I'm gonna use this all the time. Just wait. Next time you see me posting an Instagram build, it's gonna be there. And then I haven't done it since. That was like probably over a month ago. I did my first video back in like December. So I'm only just now doing it again. I tried to do it in the front of the house, but I didn't like how it looked, so I'm glad that I was able to kind of squeeze it on the side of the house. And yeah, so here's where I'm adding the ivy and stuff, because like the house looks okay without it. I feel like even just plain, it gives it that like scary haunted look that I want it. But I just love ivy. And cottage living has some of the best. I think Discover University has the best ivy, but this one is like a close second. And I love mixing both of those, so it's perfect. I just remember to add some lights, and I like hang them from some of the like sticking out bits. And I end up just putting a bunch of vegetables into these planters, because I figured that I wasn't going to actually plant anything for pictures, and I didn't want them to just be empty. And so I was like, okay, I could just squeeze like maybe this is their storage area of all their produce that they harvest. And you know what? I guess I could add to a story that a lot of the like fields are empty right now because they just harvested everything. And so it's all back here, like easy to get into the kitchen, because the kitchen is right up those stairs. So that's why all of the plots aren't full of vegetables. And I only like planted 2 seeds in the start. So that's what I'm going with. Oh yeah, my terrain paint disappeared. So you know how I said I added this back to this area, but I did this last? Yeah, I already did terrain paint for some of this, and it got deleted. That's like a known problem just in the game for like so long. And I did more detailed terrain paint the first time, and this time I was like, Megan, just put some dirt, because if it disappears again, you don't have to, like, be upset that you did it twice, like, really detailed. And it's okay. I feel like just, like, a dirt path around what was supposed to be, like, an apple field is fine. I also decided to do the floor plan and the wallpaper and flooring off video, just to save some time of what was going to be a super long video. Because, like, my other videos were long and they weren't as, like, large as this. So I just cut it down. The floor plan really didn't take me too long. I just, like, I place the stairs, decide where the stairs can easily go up to the other level, and then I just start, like, walling things off. And I knew I wanted, like, weird hallways in this build, so I just made sure that I had a hallway that kind of, like, connected things. The bathroom is, like, very cluttered for just being, like, a couple of packs, too. I thought that I was gonna miss the bathroom clutter kit because I've barely used it. And every time I do a build now, I'm like, oh, perfect time for me to finally use the bathroom kit. And then I not able to because I'm like, oh, this is a pack limited build, so I guess I'll do it next time. I did use it once, though, and, like, recently. You could hear my dog scratching because it's starting to rain, so they automatically think that it's gonna start, like, being a thunderstorm. But it's not. It's only supposed to rain. And, like, I'm not the only person home, so it's really fine. But yeah, I, like, didn't really know what to do with this entrance. Did I move the front door over a little bit? I can't remember. But yeah, I love the cottage living clock. And in my head, when I placed that, I was like, this is going to go all over the house. I'm going to have so many of these. I think that's the only one. And the only weird part of this entrance I don't like is that shelf with the boat on it. I feel like it looks, like, out of place in that area. But yeah, once again, I'm just doing, like, little things in these planters. But I guess if you wanted to do gameplay in it, you could just, like, delete the plants out of it so it's functional. But I thought it would just be cute to have, like they freshly planted some flowers in there. A big piano to fill up that space because I don't know what else would have went there. I don't know what you could have put in this, like, hallway. I considered a bathroom over there, but then I, like, put a bathroom somewhere else. And then this little room right here is just a pantry. And I really like the, like, hallway area in between the dining room, the kitchen, and the pantry that also leads to another hallway. I just really like it, and I love the wood panel, like, just the all wood panel that's in the pantry and in the hallway. I feel like it looks cute, and I'm gonna use it, like, way more often, which is also why I'm doing pack limited builds, so that I can, like, find the things that I really, really like using, and maybe it'll make especially doing wall and flooring way easier, because, like, wallpaper is probably the hardest thing for me to do, but with the pack limited builds, it's, like, very quick. So that's good, because normally I do a big build and then I'm like, okay, I need to try and figure out where I'm gonna, like, what type of wallpaper and stuff is gonna be on the outside, and it's always just, like, the biggest fear. And especially because I'm recording it, so I'm like, okay, Megan, you have to hurry up, you have to think about something, or you're gonna be sitting here for a while and then you're gonna have to edit it all out. This kitchen, the cabinets also changed. I do have one, like, annoyance while I was building with this, and it's that the yellow cabinets that come with the cottage living pack doesn't match these, like, counters, and I end up, like, you'll see, after I take out a bunch of this stuff, yeah, I'm like, what? I'm like, is this yellow? And I guess it looks fine, but I guess I was feeling like a perfectionist or something, so I started changing everything. And I don't even remember what I end up sticking with. I don't even think I used those cabinets. I ended up deleting them, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I was, like, so upset. I think I had to pause for a little bit because I was like, I can't figure out this kitchen. Because the kitchen's also a strange shape, so I wasn't even sure, like, where I wanted the stuff to go, and it was just a mess. Like, I put a sink over there. I'm like, yes, I want the sink right there. It doesn't stay there at all. But I do clutter this kitchen a lot. I think that's been my favorite part of building recently, is just like putting so much clutter into the kitchen, which then results in rotting food. And so if you've seen like any of my either YouTube shorts or my Instagram reels, you'll just see that I constantly have rotting food in my builds. And I keep them because I'm like, oh, well, the stink cloud adds something to it. Because it's just like little shots of my builds. And so like I feel like it's kind of like having smoke on a candle, but it's just like stink cloud coming from rotting food. That's gonna be my personal touch now. You'll know it's a TheCrackedKyber build if there's a stink cloud over the food. I had to step away. So if it feels like an unnatural transition from that to now, that's why. I wanted to go get water, and I also learned that the reason my dog was scratching at my door was because he wanted me to go and let another dog in the house. But someone else let him in, so it was okay. But yeah, I guess Jasper's pretty smart. Or maybe he's demanding, I'm not sure. But maybe it's both. You could be smart and demanding. Yeah, I love the clutter that I do in here. It's probably what I put the most effort in. You'll definitely notice that. Because, like, after this, like, what is it? I'm at, like, the 17-minute mark of the video. The video's, like, what, 25 minutes? So I really spent a long time in the kitchen, and it was just doing little things like this. But I feel like it's worth it. I really like kitchen pictures, so I put most of my effort into kitchens and living rooms. But I think that because I spent so much time doing like landscaping and the kitchen, I ended up getting like a little bit lazy with the rest, which is okay. I feel like not every room in a house has to be super cluttered, and it could still be like look natural and fine. I definitely feel like if it's like a farmhouse, the kitchen is more likely to be cluttered anyway, because you're bringing in all the like fresh stuff that you grew and like you have buckets of food around and like stuff on shelves. So I didn't plan it like that, but I will pretend like that was what I did. I also placed a phone next to the kitchen sink. I had to remember to bring attention to that because that was my favorite thing that I've done so far. And that's another thing that I'm going to say. I'm going to do that in my builds from now on. And I know I'm going to forget, but I need to start just like writing down every time that I have something in a build that I say like on video. I'm gonna do that more often and then I never do it again. So there was like something else that happened with, oh, it was just the stairs, I guess. Yeah, who knows. But I'm gonna make it, it's not a build unless there's a telephone by the kitchen sink. Another rule that I have is that there's a little clay sculpture of a head in the kitchen that I'm now going to place in every build because I had seen, I think it's like Shannon Builds on Instagram had it in like their post, and so I was like, that's going in every one of my builds now. It's the same with the telescope rule that Siren Witch said, that it's not a build without a telescope. I'm gonna have a long list of rules until my house is just a repeat house over and over again, where it's just like every single item is a must-have and it needs to be in an exact location. But this dining room is, it wasn't even like that many items, and I like it so much. I don't think I was able to record it in one of my shorts, which I really wanted it to, because that's probably like my favorite room besides the kitchen. And it is besides the kitchen, right? I don't know. But yeah, this bookcase is, I think, the most I do in this room. Because I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to have another bookcase. I did. There is another bookcase in the room. Plus there's books stacked up on that little desk. But it felt like this build needed just like a bunch of books and a little writing desk. I love the sort of typewriter looking computer that this pack gave. It's my favorite computer to use. It is probably the only computer I use, and when I can't use that computer, I use the base game, like, unlockable one. That's, like, super old-fashioned looking. So, I don't really like having, too modern of, like, technology in my builds. I feel like it doesn't really fit in into what I do. So sometimes I don't even add TVs in my builds, especially when I don't have the, what's the pack? Eco Living. The Eco Living Debug trash TV. If I don't have that, I tend to not put TVs in my builds. I'm pretty, yeah, this one doesn't have a TV. I guess, like, I could put a Penguin TV in, like, a kid's bedroom if that happens, so maybe, like, the next pack limited build I do, I'll end up putting in a different, like, I'll put in a Penguin TV. I am now thinking that I redid a build I did for a collab that's limited too, and I was gonna have a TV in it, and now I'm thinking I forgot to put a TV in. Maybe it's not important. I don't know. I feel like most people would like to have a space for a TV in a build. So, at least for a collab, I should probably just put a TV space in. I'll have to remember to go back and do that. But, yeah, the upstairs, I kept the bedrooms very simple. There wasn't a lot of space up here, which usually is what happens because my downstairs are, like, much larger. And then I struggle with figuring out the upstairs. So the upstairs floor plan was just the hardest for me. I finally used that wall divider that you watched me move from the kitchen into the living room into here. And I considered deleting it. And I was like, Megan, you can't make a big deal of moving this into other rooms because you're going to use it and then you delete it. But yeah, there is a decent amount of doll selection and debug in this. I guess it's because of the dollhouse, right? And I never put dollhouses in my builds because I always feel like if I size them down, they're not functional, but I learned that they are. So I'm, like, starting to be okay with just putting a very tiny dollhouse in because apparently it's functional. I don't know if that, like, that size down is. I'm hoping it is. I playtested most things, but not that. Did I even playtest this build? Or am I thinking about another build? Oh no, I definitely did because I recorded the little intro. So, at least, like, my main concern was that secret room, like, being able to, like, function. Or at least walk into because it doesn't function. I put a bunch of dolls and a woodworking table, so it's kind of like a creepy thing where it's like whoever lives here makes these really creepy haunted dolls. But I wanted a video of the grandma making the dolls with the woodworking table, but it doesn't work. I could definitely try, like, before I upload it to the gallery and make sure that it could work, but who knows. I feel like the video's almost over and I always forget to, like, say goodbye. So I'm just going to, like, start one now. And say thank you for watching. I appreciate, like, all the nice comments and, like, everyone on Instagram who I always, like, see coming over to YouTube. I appreciate it. It's like seeing, like, a friendly face when you're just, like out doing something. Oh, it's not even almost done. There's 2 more rooms. Okay, well, I got it out of the way. So now if it ends abruptly, I have said what I need to say, I guess. And also that you can find me on Instagram. I'm active on Instagram. I'm a little active on Twitter. My socials are all listed, so whatever. If you want to see pictures of my builds, though, Instagram is where you're going to find them, because that's, like, where I post majority of my pictures. I don't post all my pictures on Twitter. I also almost forgot about this bathroom. And I was like, okay, the house is done. Got the bathroom left to do. But very simple bathroom. Not much in it. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. Bye.